Okay, so welcome to my kind of MDS 495 final presentation. My name is Sam Whitney, and I'll be going over my service learning that I did, as well as my MDS outcomes and what I've learned from it. So to start, we'll talk about Kid City. So Kid City is actually where I did my service learning. Kid City is an after-school program that's ran at multiple elementary schools around Boise. The one I did specifically was at Jefferson Elementary School. So, Kid City is an after school program for kids grade kindergarten through six. It provides a late lunch and early dinner, all types of sports, drawing, and like plenty of games. So, I mean, a lot of times I would show up and we'd get there, they'd eat their late lunch, early dinner type deal, and we would get time to go outside, play basketball, play football, soccer. I mean, I was usually the best one. It was pretty awesome being able to give up no goals the whole entire time I was there. So Kid City is Monday through Friday from 3 to 6, and someone stays until everyone is picked up and signed out. So it's a good opportunity for parents who work until 5 or until whenever for their kids to go ahead and get some type of exposure instead of just heading home and sitting at home unsupervised. Instead, they can come and they can get exposure playing football, playing basketball, soccer, doing extra schoolwork, drawing, all that kind of stuff. So, Idaho After School Program numbers. So, according to the After School Alliance, there are 23,000 kids enrolled in after school programs in Idaho. There's 111,000 that are waiting for availability in an after school program, and there's actually 54,000 kids that are left unsupervised after school. So, why are programs like Kid City important? So keeping kids safe and engaged and teaching them new things instead of them being alone, picking up bad habits. So as you can see, according to the After School Alliance, 67% of kids in Kid City reported better participation and assignment completion. 57% of kids improved their classroom behavior. And it also helps parents manage their life and keep their jobs. So when they asked parents how it helped them, they talked about how having after school programs helps them keep jobs because they're not too stressed about the hours they can work and asking for certain requirements and stuff like that. So why aren't after school programs working? So the Department of Education actually talks about how almost 9 in 10 programs, so 88%, say children in their community need after school care but are unable to access it. More than half of programs report that their budget is inadequate to meet community needs, and an increase of nearly 10 points since 2009. Nearly 1 in 4 programs say they would need to at least double their capacity to meet the demand for services. So they need more room for how many kids they want and more opportunities for kids to come. Close to 1 in 5 programs report that a loss of funding caused major cutbacks or shut down sites. Field trips, staff hours, and variety of activities are the top 3 services cut by programs, reporting a loss of funding or budget stagnation. So as you can see, really the main reason is just funding. There's not a lot of support for these type of programs or enough support that's being acted on and taken seriously. So the 21st Century Community Learning Center, so they call it the 21st CCLC, is actually the only government formed act that's helped to or supposed to help create academic services like after school programs for students or any type of out of school hour services. So some of the things they provide are mathematics and science education activities, arts and music education activities, recreational activities, expanded library service hours, programs that promote parental involvement and family literacy. So really they do a whole bunch of things. Drug and violence prevention programs. So these are all things that happen outside of school hours. So you could send your child to character education programs, and instead of you stressing about picking them up from work, you can trust that they're learning about their character and how to improve their character. So one of the only ways to really help promote after school programs is through personal efforts. So because it's more of a government official type deal, the only thing we could really do is sign petitions to get people to sway whichever way you want them to. do your research and stay informed, so when people do have questions and they want to know answers, you can really tell them and preach to them. Supporting the cause and pouring your personal efforts into the cause and people trying to improve it. So really, I think a way to do it is like the community has to be behind the after school program. We have to support it. We have to make sure that if we do fund it, it's going to be successful and do its job. So again, signing petitions to get government officials swayed is a big deal. Okay, so more moving on to my MDS outcome. So again, mentioned I'm not an MDS major, I'm a communications major. So some of these are a little rough, but I went with what I chose for my portfolio. So my MDS outcomes, the problem solving is obviously the after school program. And my paper really dives into that one. I'm excited to post about that. Multicultural. So my second year on campus, I did a personal cultural frameworks paper, and it was all about my background, my family's background, our religious backgrounds, and how that changes around the world, and how the only way we can get along as a world is to be accepting and understanding. Obviously, you don't have to be a certain religion, but being accepting and understanding of that. Writing. So I chose a personal narrative that I did in a communication class. I feel confident that that's my best writing I've done in college. I think because it's freelance and because it's not directed at anybody, it's really just my story. I think that's the best writing I've done, and I think it could communicate to the most to a reader if they wanted to learn about me. Speaking, this is my speaking one right here. I think effective speaking is extremely important. I think communication really helped me with effective speaking, not so much MDS. I'm not really sure how you guys do that whole entire process. So teamwork, I took a fan engagement class, and we actually went around and surveyed people all over basketball games, whether it was women or men's basketball games, and actually were able to accumulate all the information and make a final report to boost attendance at games and get people more excited about basketball games. And that really taught me how to work inside of a group and be part of a team and do my responsibility to make the team function correctly. So ethics, I did a paper about global solutions, and the global solution was women's rights, and how whether it's Saudi Arabia where they can't even show their face, or it's here where the pay differential is different. Just how ethics differ and vary from country to country. And I think that's a big one that I've learned in college so far. So what MDS has taught me, it's kind of a hodgepodge of communications and MDS. So what's interesting about MDS is it gave me the opportunity to do service learning, and that's really applying what I've learned in my comm classes and this MDM class or MDS class, and being able to apply it hands-on. Whether I was going to service learning to learn about teamwork or whatever, or effective speaking, I really got to go in there and do that hands-on, get my hands dirty with the experience and talk to people, get live teamwork and do that whole entire type of scenario. And I think that's something that's really beneficial. So where MDS will take me in the future, I do want to be a firefighter, and I think the ability to speak effectively, to work in a team and be creative as a team, the ability to understand cultural background and differences, have my ethics in check, and make sure that our ethics as a group in a firefighting department can all check in line and we can be successful that way. Another one is I do want to be a father and have a family, and I think MDS outcomes, along with the knowledge I learned in communication, will be extremely beneficial when approaching situations, taking different approaches towards a situation depending what it is, whether it's, I don't know, my kid pooped on the floor or something, or my wife is making me mad. But I think having these skills and learning them and being able to use them hands-on in college will be very beneficial when it really comes to the real life situations. So I also think something that will be huge for me personally will be having the opportunities, being a firefighter and a parent, to really get repetition at all my outcomes and what I practice in college and what I've learned in college, whether that be the public speak or the effective speaking or writing or problem solving, any of that type of scenario. Getting repetition for the rest of my life, whether it be 10 years or 50 years or 80 years, will be really important for me and my success. So the last page is references. For this presentation, I really only used the After School Alliance and then the Department of Education. The paper obviously has 5 more. But yes, so thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the communication MDS combination of ideas. Have a good night. Thank you.